Hello everyone, here is a presentation about plant-based alternative to yogurt. Fermented plant-based products have gained a lot of popularity. New products are constantly being developed. The change is based, for example, on nutritional, economic and environmental reasons. Important properties that plant-based yogurt alternatives must meet are texture, viscosity, mouthfeel, and appearance. The processing of fermented plant-based products differs from the processing of milk-based products. Adding ingredients and adjusting processing methods ensures proper optimization of the plant-based product's nutrition, composition, and taste. The main structure of milk-based yogurts is formed through the protein network created during fermentation. In fermented plant-based products, the protein content is lower and the desired consistency may not be achieved. The structure is mainly built by adding thickeners such as starches, pectin, or gelatin. A higher protein level has a greater effect on the structure, which means that for some plant-based products, the effect on the structure also comes from the protein network. For example, soy base often contains more protein compared to oat base. The challenges associated with fermented plant-based products are usually related to the product's viscosity and structure. Undesirable textures and flavors of products do not attract consumers in the current market. Watery, thin or separated texture or acidic taste and beany or nutty flavor are commonly identified. The use of suitable thickeners is crucial. Optimization of fermentation parameters is important, especially fermentation time and the culture used. Food safety is ensured by using appropriate heat treatment methods. Here is presented one possible way to make fermented plant-based yogurt. The manufacturing process starts by creating a base from plant-based material. Many different raw materials can be used to make a plant-based alternative to yogurt, for example oats, soya beans, or almonds. Adjusting the structure with thickening agents, most commonly starches, and adding other ingredients takes place after the preparation of the base of the product. The choice of ingredients affects also the used heating methods and fermentation parameters. Natural and modified starches can be used to alter the viscosity of the base. Different starches have their advantages and disadvantages. Modified starches work, for example, at high temperature or high shear. Some of the starches form high viscosity already before fermentation. Others create viscosity later, after packaging and cooling. During heat treatment, starch granules swell, bind water, and thus increase the viscosity. The swelling temperature depends on the type of starch used. Pectin and gel and jam are often used together in plant-based yogurts. Sugars, for example sucrose, glucose, and maltose, may be added depending on the plant material used. The amount and type of fat in the raw material varies between different plant materials. For example, oats have low fat content. Rapeseed or sunflower oil is commonly added to these products. Adding fat is not necessarily needed for raw materials with a higher fat content, such as almonds and other nut-based products. Emulsifiers, flavors, and additional protein, for example potato protein, may also be added. Plant-based milks generally have less protein than dairy milk, with the exception of soy. During the manufacturing process, one or more heat treatments may be required to ensure food safety and quality. The base should be heat treated after all the ingredients have been mixed. Sufficient heat treatment leads to the destruction of pathogens and those microorganisms that might interfere with the starter culture during fermentation. Heat also causes added starch or other thickeners to swell. Coagulation of proteins can affect the viscosity of protein-rich products, however mainly in milk yogurts. The heating methods depend on the ingredients and process methods used in the product. When choosing the combination of temperature and time, the properties of the thickener and also product safety must be considered. A commonly used heat treatment is 95 Celsius for 5 minutes. The product is cooled to fermentation temperature after processing. Fermentation can improve microbial safety and nutritional properties of plant-based products and influence the texture. Hence, adding ingredients that are often considered artificial can be avoided. After heat treatment, a starter culture is added to the base of the product. Common strains used in the culture are Lactobacillus and Streptococcus species. Fermentation can extend the shelf life of products, as most lactic acid bacteria inhibit the growth of other microorganisms. During fermentation, lactic acid is formed when bacteria consume the sugars in the base. This lowers the pH of the base and changes the taste. It is to be noted that there should be enough fermentable sugars in the base. Lactic acid bacteria strains that produce exopolysaccharides have been shown to increase viscosity in plant-based products. Fermentation parameters, time, temperature, and amount of lactic acid bacteria depend on the culture used. After fermentation, typical pH values range from 4.3 to 4.5. The final pH of the product should be below 4.6, as there are no pathogenic microorganisms left to multiply. Typical time for fermentation is from 4 to 10 hours, depending on, for example, the used base and its protein content or initial pH. After fermentation, additional steps may be needed before packaging. Heat treatment after fermentation results in a more stable product and longer shelf life while inactivating bacteria. A low heat treatment is enough when inactivating the culture, typically from 63 to 75 Celsius for 15 seconds. A higher heat treatment, typically 95 Celsius for 15 seconds, is necessary if the goal is to inactivate microorganisms that may have contaminated the product after fermentation. Some plant-based products contain live bacteria with shorter shelf life. Probiotic bacteria may also be added to the product after heat treatment. Smoothing by agitation makes the product more homogeneous. The process breaks up small protein clusters and clumps in the product. Homogenization can be applied for drinkable products. Before cooling and packaging, it is possible to add fluid compounds or other particles, for example nuts, to the product. Eventually, the product is cooled down to packaging temperature. The product should be stored at lower than 8 Celsius. Here we have the references and also further reading. Thank you for listening to the presentation.